actively lobbying. They've had 3-hour meetings twice. The last one happened last week. This is to show. This is my opinion that Bill Gates is actively lobbying to keep the list in check. And the Trump's hook in there is the fact that he might be implicated, because Bill Gates is not just a powerful man. He also has a news station, and he also has a kind of pull to where he can spin this around to where Trump is. If he tries to release the list, he's gonna go down with it. We all know he's in there. All the Dems are in there, but I think they know that Trump is they're gonna pull Trump down with him, and I don't really understand why someone like Bill Gates would have 3-hour meetings. You saw when Trump went on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's episode with Trump, that was one of the longest episodes that they've had there. To think that they have 2 of those meetings with Bill Gates, not sure what all you're talking about with a guy like that, but I'm sure Epstein is very much generally on the topic. And releasing the list is not something they're going to do. But let's just be clear. I think Trump is in there. I think that's their hook.
You think Bill Gates went to the president and said, you think he was begging Trump to not release the files? Possibly. I know a lot of people on Wall Street that are begging for that. We hear them all the time. There's even been Democrats, this is the stupid part. Democrats in the House are saying, oh, let's release this. No. You guys are actually plotting to not release it because you're going to fucking judges through your PAC committees and Democrat chills to try to block the release of it. So I'm confused. With the Democrats, they really don't want it released because they know that it's going to excoriate them. They know that they have players in it. You're going to have Soros in there? Let's not kid ourselves up. You've got Soros, and there is a lot of people that want to suck. They wanted access to that money. You've got, let me see, Kamala Harris, I believe, part of that inner ring. She's got some acquaintances in there because she was asking for money. California, you got Newsom. Oh, Nancy Pelosi. Let's not leave the queen of the big tits alone. Let's actually put her on display and say Nancy Pelosi is involved in Epstein as well, because you know damn well that woman is all a money whore. She went around and got money. She could whip her votes, but she could also collect money, and she was a good fundraiser. And she was his biggest fucking draw. She went there and begged. She did everything. I'm willing to bet you there's probably a video of Nancy Pelosi going to town on Epstein. I'm sure Maxwell has that somewhere in the office. It's the only reason she's probably alive is she's just I have tapes. I have proof of all of you guys. Don't fucking eliminate me. Otherwise, I release it.
Can't they seize it from her? Can't they take it from her and kind of force her?
I invited up the Simpson characters. I don't know who these guys are. So,
Brad, you do know me.
Oh, well, okay. Simpsons characters. Why are you guys Simpsons? Just go by your name.
Are you kidding?
I do it. Let's just see. I've done it. So far, people have gone on this app and said horrific things about my daughters. You've got an Agent P who likes to go around on the app and say, "Oh, I was evicted from my home," which that never happened. Number 2 says that I murdered my wife. That never happened. So I still stay with my whole name and my whole chest. So I look at people like Agent P and I just go, yeah, single cell amoebas that are troglodytes on the app. They'll never do anything. They'll never achieve anything, and they'll never be listened to. I just look at their accomplishments and say, okay, you got the Aaron Burgers. He likes to do the same shit. He's another piece of shit. He goes around by dark now, and he's trying to pretend he's an angel, but for the longest time, he was Jew, and he was, oh my God, anti-Israel. He was in every room trying to get, claim every conservative for being or anti-Semitic, including this room. He was known to do that to conservatives in this room. And he thought he would have a fun day until he got clipped, until he got exposed, until he got caught lying with his whole fucking chest. And then it turns out he's fraudulent, working for fake climate change fucking bullshit. So There you go. And then he brags about how, he sat in front of a dais and was like, I'm changing the world. And in reality, he was just scamming from the federal government, your tax dollars.
Okay.
So there you go.
But Brad, let's stipulate that people that use their real names are braver and stronger and more noble than people that are anonymous.
No, I don't say that. I just think that you should go through this world and stand with your name on it and be proud of who you are. You'll make mistakes. You'll fall. You'll have all families, all names rise and fall in this world. It's up to you to end it on a high note, and all of your mistakes are just badges of honor to carry with you. You don't learn from your victories as much as you do your defeats and your failings in life. And I'll never hold anybody back for failing. I'll never condemn you for that. But I will sit there and slap that hypocrisy label on you, and I will smack you like the little broke bitch boy you are if you try to come up and go to somebody or myself and say how great you are in comparison, and then all of a sudden turn around and find out you're one of the fucking pieces of scum that we really don't try to be, we don't really want to emulate, but you turn out to be one of those freaking pieces of scum that I hate.
Okay, I agree, but I've been on Clubhouse since the very beginning, and I've always used different cartoon characters. I've rotated through 50 cartoon characters, and I've always said from the beginning, people who use their real name are brave, and what proves that they're brave is there have already been 3 murders of people who use their real name. So people who use their real name are choosing to risk their lives for the right thing, and I admire that. But I'm not going to.
That's fine. But anyway, what was your point? Let's get back to the Epstein thing.
Yeah.
And who is Bart? Why does Bart have Will C upset? I know who Will C is, but
Okay.
Bart, why do you have Will C upset?
I don't. First of all, Bart is let me explain how I access Clubhouse, Brad. I'm going to try to be very brief. I have a Verizon iPad and a T-Mobile iPad, and the reception on one gets bad. So that's why I always have 2 cartoon characters in each room. One is Verizon, one's T-Mobile. But I want to address the Epstein stuff. I think that, first of all, there are certainly a lot of pedophiles in both political parties, a lot of rich pedophiles in both parties. However, I think a neutral, honest, ethical person would say that of the people on the Epstein list, most of them didn't do anything wrong. Most of them just wanted Epstein to donate money to their pet causes. That's why the head of Harvard and the head of MIT was kissing Epstein's ass, not for pedophilia, but because they wanted money. Now, we as a society have to figure out how do we deal with a list where we know, let's say 5 or 10% of the people are pedophiles, and we know 90% are innocent. And I don't know how to deal with that as a society, but that's what a grown-up conversation would be. I think a conversation that says every single person on the list is a scumbag who should be humiliated, I don't think that's a reasonable conversation, and I say that with respect.
I would agree with you if we were in a normal political environment, but it seems that it's slowly focused. Like, I'm well aware Trump was on the airplane, well aware that Epstein has recorded and impugned and stated that, hey, let's stop at whatever his golf course is in New Jersey, and flew up there and went to go see Trump on a golf course. I'm aware that Trump didn't necessarily like Epstein. They ran in similar circles, but didn't really necessarily like each other. There was some disagreement or some disgruntlement where Trump threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. That's been pretty prominent, and Trump hasn't really discussed on it. I'm aware that Trump is the only one to sit down for a deposition. That's striking to me. That one is eye-opening and revealing if he's the only one to do so. He's also the only one named in depositions as partaking in the events. So far, on the ones accumulated and on the list and in the Maxwell trial itself, he wasn't listed. So I'm confused as to why everybody seems to zero in on Trump and the Epstein. Like, he made the promise casually. He didn't really make a promise. He casually inferred to it. But even if he doesn't release the Epstein list,
Brad, let me try to answer you very briefly, okay? I don't think that any of the Epstein money is going to stick to Trump, and I think it's for a reason that you've never brought up. To the best I know, you brought this up. The reason, and you're welcome to criticize me, but don't interrupt me, okay? The Democratic Party has a 20-year track record of inventing fake rape charges against Republicans, right? It's a very, very popular technique. The Democratic Party will find a Republican they don't like, they'll invent a rape charge. Obviously, they accused Trump of raping a woman importantly, and it's easy for you to prove everything I'm saying, the Democratic Party decided to falsely accuse the Duke lacrosse players of rape. The Democratic district attorney knew they were innocent. He had ample evidence they were innocent, but he said, look, I'll get donations from rich Democrats if I prosecute these innocent people. So it has been absolutely proven that he knowingly prosecuted innocent little boys because they were Republicans and because it put money in his pocket. And then the final thing I'll say is you could Google a case called the Tawana Brawley case. In New York, the Democrats invented a false rape charge against some Republicans, and they were ready to put these Republicans in prison for life on obviously false rape charges. And you could go on and on and on. It's very easy to confirm. So I'm trying to be politically neutral. I know of zero examples of the Republican Party deciding to frame Democrats who are innocent of rape, but I know there's so many examples. So I think as Trump makes those cases well known, I just think none of this mud will stick to him, but I'm eager to hear people criticize.
Hey, Augustus, how's it been? I haven't seen you in a hot minute.
How you doing, my friend? Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while. Yeah, just jumped back from Clubhouse to see what's popping, and hear the hot takes from some of the smartest minds. So then I came in here. No, I'm joking. So cool. Nice to be.
Good to have you back. We've had a lot of old school, like Clubhouse season 1ers and 2ers come back, and it's been interesting to see them come back onto the app. It's fall, it's midterm time. People are probably trying to figure out what's really going on in the rooms. I heard on your side of the pond, it's getting pretty dicey and exciting over there.
Dude, oh my God, like what the actual fuck, bro, like it's just insane. You know, I actually left the United Kingdom. I've been living in I've been living out in Africa for the past, I think it's about 12 months now, and I'm in Cape Verde at the moment. I'm probably gonna have a jet to holiday to like the Asia or something like that, right? Because I just can't be bothered right now with what's going on. Like, I just no, I've had enough. The United Kingdom is a third world country. England is a third world country, if you say. It's fallen to shit, basically. Sorry if I'm swearing, people. It's fallen to this. The nation itself is just deteriorating just rapidly. And I understand why the native British people are upset. Like, it's not rocket science. But again, Keir Starmer is a joke of a prime minister. And I think either reform or even socialist might have some bearing in the next election. So I don't know. It's interesting. Like it's fine.
Red, is it possible you would vote for Nigel Farage?
I would vote for Nigel Farage. I would vote for him. It's actually possible that I would vote for. I'm a conservative, right? But I would actually vote for somebody like what's his name now? The socialist, white guy, Jeremy Corbyn. Do you know what I mean? Just as a fuck you to that. I mean, I know you're probably going to hate me for that. It is what it is. But, I mean, his policies do seem to be a lot more in line with actually helping the British people as opposed to just the corporate establishment or whoever, right? So, you know, and reform speaks for itself. I mean, reform are kind of like a British, they're like MAGA light. Do you know what I mean? It's like mega light, but I mean, it is what it is. So yeah, I would vote for either or at this point, because Keir Starmer, who we knew was and is one of these pedos, or at least associated with the whole pedo ring that happens, that has been around since the dawn of time, if you would. Mainly speaking about what's his name, Jim will fix it. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Do you know what I'm talking about? The guy who's close to the crown, right? And his association with that whole thing, it's just giving the whole. I can go on. I can speak at length for some time. I'm gonna cut it here. All I'm saying is, look, the country's gone to shit. I would vote for the Reform Party because
I think that they have the right idea back to a nation, if anything. And I say that because that's how I would vote if I was, as a Nigerian man, if I was back in Nigeria, the country that wants to back, the party that wants to back its country, I'm going to vote for those people, especially when, you know, there's a shit ton of point. Anyway, I'm rambling, but yeah, you know what I'm going with that. I'm trying to temper myself. That's certain racist, but yeah, he's a race.
Well, sorry you guys are going through that. You know, we kind of have we're in the middle of ours, so you're at the beginning of yours, and we'll see how it goes. It looks like a lot of European nations are starting to go that way. Canada is in the midst; they're about to kick theirs off, so we'll see how that goes. Starting to realize that. So the U.S. is having a broader influence, and as more European countries start to get on board, it's going to start to spread a little bit more to a lot of other places that don't already have the similar kind of views that people are wanting, and that's their pride.
This is the thing, though, Brad. Right? I think nationalism has been allowed to resurface as a not as a tool to be weaponized by the left, as they like to kind of position people as racists. You're seeing the same kind of philosophy happening right now in Africa, right? So a lot of the European nations, I listen to some of the conservative speakers, and one of them a few years back, I forget his name now, he was saying that there's a kind of a resurgence of conservatism, of conservative values, of nationalism, of national pride and representation, kind of swooping through Europe. And I could see that, like, for crying out loud, we just seen seven conservative politicians, let's say, murdered, have been found dead in Germany. They're all right wing. Like, what are we doing? We had what was taking place in France again with the arrest of some of the people. I think earlier on this year, maybe I'm getting it confused with another country. What I'm trying to say is there is this kind of
right now to go back to war against Israel. They've been talking about it for days.
ooh.
Iran and Israel, they're about to go back out, and in Syria right now, they're about to go fight again.
Come on, Iran have already, played out its hand.
Oh, stop it. Stop giving me the fantasy world, man. We got more ballistic missiles to give Israel, Tel Aviv for.
Okay, I'm going to take your voice for a second, guys. So, AR's coming back up, but he was saying what I was trying to say is that I don't like Israel, but I'm originally from Lebanon. I live in America because my grandfather was killed by the PLO when they were in Lebanon. You got the mic, AR. Everybody be patient. He has been patient enough to speak. Please don't interrupt him. Go ahead.
Thank you. Because I am an Arab nationalist, as I was raised to be, but don't. Prison time in another leak call. I think that's it for the celebrity hood talk.
Gucci, I mean, y'all could have been doing the most.
Oh, I see. Mom's boyfriend fatally shoots 16-year-old who was returning home through a back door after mistaking him for a burglar.
Oh, wow.
Bet he won't sneak out no more. Also, another video. Not a single woman was sitting at the White House meeting on women's health. All men. Sitting at a fucking table. All white fucking men. Sitting at a fucking table speaking on women's health. Interesting. No, man.
I mean, I'm sure there's a way to send that, right?
What?
I'm sure there's a way to defend it, right? Isn't there a MAGA explanation for that somewhere?
Oh, we ran the magas off. You missed it. I pinged you in so you could see Joe and somebody, but you came too late.
I just asked him a question.
What was the question?
If he was good.
Or was it Jamal? Was it Jamal?
I didn't answer. It was E.
Bruce Willis, I guess, reacts to the trolls telling her why she no longer lives with Bruce Willis. And, she moved to another home nearby with her kids during this, his dementia and stuff.
Hey, quick question for you, Mo, because you're on top of it. But anybody else as well. Did anybody see the high school catfish thing on Netflix?
Yeah, and it's had without National Guard support, and it's not going well. So two cities started two similar programs, one succeeding because of National Guard help. The other one in Philadelphia is not doing so fucking great. Now, granted, Philadelphia is a little bit bigger, but it's still not going great. And we're having issues there with kids going to school. Trump saying he's going to hit Chicago, possibly Memphis, and others. These are things I wanted to talk about because I think it is a concern. I do have concerns about National Guard being used and the way the left is trying to portray this. They're not coming in being authoritarian. They're not arresting people. They're not rounding up. They're just a show of force. And they're there as an assist in case of massive explosion of violence. So, such as, gunfights or a criminal that's tackling and destroying 2 or 3 cops. They're there to lend assistance as need be and to provide I don't want to say passionate crimes or acts, I forget the term for it, but just like non-premeditated crimes, like fist fighting or something along those lines, trying to push people, hurt people, drug dealers from, again, going after children. These are things that we can kind of block with the National Guard who's watching right there. It's eyes on them, and you're not going to fuck with a guy. And they're not walking around with AR-15s or any military scary assault weapons. They have a 9mm, and that's the extent of it. And maybe some mace, I think, and a couple of zip ties. Literally nothing more than what a police officer would carry. And I think these were good things. But today's news, we have the Epstein, and I'm going to post the article at the top. It appears the Epstein group, or at least some of the victims, are going to come together and release their own list. And I want to know what people's opinions are about this. I want to know why Democrats are really trying to play a total line on this and try to play it very finessing when overwhelmingly their biggest leaders, their biggest donors, their biggest prominent names in their party are going to be on this list. Like, let's not forget that Trump was a Democrat. He was a Democrat donor. This is literally the list, if there is one. This Epstein list is going to be a Democrat donor list. It's going to be something Nancy Pelosi walked around with, like going, who can I get money from in the midterms? That's how I see it. But I'm willing to take on any arguments. Remember, this is the political compass. I am conservative. I am biased. So are the owners of these houses. We make no qualms about it, but all opinions will be allowed to be up here. If you say some bullshit in the chat, I will smack you, or one of the other mods will smack you when they come in here, one of the administrators. Just know that I don't tolerate any anti-Semitism. I don't care what race you are, and I don't care who you call Sky Daddy. I don't care about if you're Muslim. If you're there, you don't want to hear my position on Israel and Palestine, because mine is completely different from everybody else's, and you won't like the outcome. And I don't care what country you're from. All I care about is the idea of this. So let's get this on the board. Since conservatives are consistently having to defend themselves over this, let's have this out. Should Trump release it? What do you think's on there? What do you think is really the holdup from just releasing the treasure trove of information? If you get a chance to preview the 30,000 pages of documents that were just released, are you excited, happy about it? So go ahead, Pepe, Alyssa, Joe, Red.
Well, all I know is that it's so much more than they thought, that they have to go through many more.
I'm going to say push-ups is actually big.
Anybody in the audience want to come up? You guys welcome to come. Hey, what's up, Rodney? How you doing there, bro?
Oh, hello. How are you?
But okay, we were talking about BBC, how trustworthy the news agency is.
Oh, not at all. Coming from a British person, that's not at all.
I find it, little bit, right? You could say they're probably like 25% of the time.
It's very seasonal, in my opinion.
Are you
They look at where...
Whereas there's like Zionist support. The people who throwing blood on the BBC in London, they support it. I mean, it's a government-funded news organization.
If it's government funded, why the bias, though?
Who runs it? They are the fake holdings.
Yeah, but don't they leave?
Jesus. Are you into like sympathizers, Moog? Is that what your name is, Moog or Moog? Are you like...
What's wrong with being a homosexual?
It's wrong with it.
It ain't nothing wrong.
Oh, they didn't have to have October 7th happen for that to happen.
No, they couldn't. They needed a reason. That's why BB set this whole thing up.
They had reasons before October 7th.
No, they didn't.
Obviously,
No, they
don't know. Yeah, they did.
No,
they shot
didn't.
over 9,000 rockets into Israel in May 2021.
So what? So what? And they
That's
killed
not a
no
reason.
one.
That's not a
Yes,
reason.
no one died.
Yes, people did die.
No, they did not. You fucking
Yes,
liar.
people died.
Go look at the casualties
Oh my God,
of
bro.
Hamas's missiles going into Israel. Guess what? Almost
Looking down.
95% of them get shot down by the fucking Iron Dome, you fucking liar.
This is one of the largest.
Everyone knows that. Most Israelis get hurt because of the scrap metal. He's a fucking liar.
And where does the scrap metal come from? It comes from the fucking rocket, you idiot.
Yeah, they got shot down by the Iron Dome.
Well, what do you want them to do? Let the rocket hit the fucking house?
That's not the point. The point is they know
The point
there
is
is
they
no
saw the
mass.
rocket
There
either
has
way.
never
That's the
been
point.
mass casualties because
My
of
God,
Hamas's
dude, you're
fucking
talking to a
missiles.
fucking retard.
You are retards. Stop trying to equate that those missiles caused thousands of deaths for Israelis. It hasn't. You're a fucking idiot and a liar.
Resistance, how many have died due to the rockets that Hamas shot
Can you hear me?
Probably less than 100. Probably. I'm gonna go do the research now.
Can you hear me?
Do it, come back.
Hello.
And post it.
It doesn't matter if it was 100 or it's one. It's still a fucking act of war. You don't shoot rockets into a sovereign nation. He doesn't understand that.
Yeah, I can't speak over people, but yeah, it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. One of the biggest things that I've ever heard, that it's okay because Israel has the Iron Dome to defend itself, that it shouldn't be able to retaliate against anybody else because they don't have an Iron Dome. It's so stupid. Like,
It's so stupid. Who says that Israeli couldn't respond? No one said they couldn't. You idiot.
like you literally just said
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
So fine. Israel really should just blown Hamas out of this shit. Should have just blown the water, just like pushed it into the ocean. Okay.
Much family left, but now they tried to blame my family for the
Fire against the United States of America, Donald Trump.
All right, let's enact the 25th Amendment, take away his fucking phone, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because this shit is the drunk and stoned, and you're tweeting from underneath your covers.
But there isn't a nation he didn't. Hold on, Alyssa. There's not a nation he didn't drone strike, and he drone struck an American without due process, waiving constitutional rights. So I have issues with Obama, like on his bullshit, but not saying he's gay or transsexual. That's just not me.
I think that's how Alyssa talks, just in her defense.
He knows who I am. He's just coming out on the other side, revealing who he really is. And he played a different part. He played a different different character when he came on.
What different character? I'm the same guy. I call everybody a faggot till this day. Faggots, faggots, faggots.
You were pretty different when I met you 5 years ago. I had
What
a different
changed?
stance, political.
What changed? Why also focus
I
on
don't want to change the subject.
Okay, so let's do this. We're gonna stop this. Not on my stage. Guys, you go have the backroom chat. I don't know, Ludwig. Maybe you forgot to bring home the groceries. Alyssa, maybe you just, I don't know, forgot to remember his birthday or fishing trip. I don't fucking know. But whatever the love quarrel is, go have it in another room. Come back and I would rather slam my dick in between the door. Yeah, well, to each their own. But I don't want to have this kind of like crap on here, and I get bored with that stuff really easy. But let's go back to this Epstein thing. Is this what everybody wants to talk about? Because no one really wants to come on stage and really kind of add teeth to it. No one wants to have that deep dive discussion. So is that a negative, or you can say you're concerned about pedophiles. You can say you're concerned about the kids. You can say a lot of things, but I'm just asking you to come up and offer your point of view, and I'll make sure everybody gets to hear it. Welcome, Durant.
Hey, Brad. How's everyone?
Good.
So this is just my wild supposition about how Trump did a 180 live in front of the press a few weeks ago about this issue, in the sense that he was promising it was going to be released, and so was his attorney general, and then when he was in front of the press, he tried to downplay it and redirect and all that, and then it became the big Democratic sticking point in the media for weeks. And my wild supposition is this: they actually saw the meat of what was in there, and they realized that if this all truly saw the light of day in the fullest sense, that both parties are implicated, and it is such an existential threat to the existing order and all of the powers that be, that no Democrat or Republican would be ever elected again. And he was basically told that if you release this, our entire system will come down because they're all implicated. So I think he then had a choice. He could either do the misdirection and "are you still talking about that loser" kind of thing that Trump did in front of the press, or he could say, listen, it's a national security issue and we've made another decision not to release this information. The full meat of the list, and so I think he tried to do his little Trump shtick, and it sort of backfired at him for a couple weeks, but the public have short memories. The people will move on, and that's why I think they didn't release it.
All right, welcome, First Lady, and thanks, Joyce. I do have a question, though. Here's my view. And for those that don't know, First Lady does run the political correctness room. I encourage you to go in there. I'm going to give this caveat. It is not always political or the discussions. Sometimes it's just mind-numbingly you're banging your head against the wall. But she does try to keep it on point. She's probably one of the best mods in there next to Patty. So these two ladies, when they're teamed up together and they have a point they want to attack, it's going to be on that point. Everybody else, I would just take with a grain of salt. But listen to what these two ladies say.
Discussions.
As far as your view on this, I look at it in the market sense. We are aware that Epstein played around in the markets significantly, particularly Wall Street, and particularly in foreign, like the Houston exchanges, the Japanese, the Asian markets. He was all over the place. We're aware that he miraculously somehow put together billions of dollars, but no one knows necessarily where all those funds came from, how those sources are. So he had to make it up in where would be Wall Street's. My feeling is on the Epstein list is something akin to what you're hitting on. I think what we would see, it would be a huge financial collapse. Like, I think what we honestly find is that there's more money out there, probably hidden in accounts in Cayman or the Bermuda account papers and things along those lines. We'd find more of those. I think releasing this is an iceberg like that sunk the Titanic. And I think a lot of these hedge funders and financiers are sweating the most. And that's who's backing, like the Clintons. They get Clinton went to the island. He enjoyed having sex with underage kids. We're aware of that. Trump, so far, there hasn't been any indication. He's visited the island. He's been on the plane. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. It may have. Dershowitz, he visited the island. He was a lawyer. So, yeah, maybe there's some connection there. That should be concerning. The Prince Andrew of fucking England. You know, we always knew about those, like, weak English princes. But, you know, that's concerning as well. So, but I'm more concerned about the finance markets and the epic collapse it could unfold. Could you imagine Bank of America, Chase, Capital One, like all of those markets would just like gone right away without the leadership because those guys have been flown around. Could you imagine that?
Brad, you know 2 days before this filth, Epstein got suicided, like I like to say it. You know, it is like magically while he was locked up, like a trust was being put up, and to that trust, like 577 million was deposited. Right? How's it even fucking possible? Is that possible in the United States? While you're like locked up, you can put a trust up and deposit money. Not like $20 or something. $577 million.
Yeah,
that is. I mean.
So I'll say this, like. The Epsteins of the world, they don't circulate with people like me or you, where she, even the most elegant first lady. We're not those people. We're not even on their list. You could think you're all that in a bag of chips. First lady's very attractive. Joe B's attractive. She may think she's prominent. She's not. She's not Epstein level prominence. We don't run in those circles. That circle is really small, really tight, and it's really finessed. And there's usually two factions, a little bit for the cameras and for the public, but generally it's all one circle underneath, and it's literally that 1% of the world. Trump, Epstein, they radiated around that. They ran in those fields. They're with them with the Buffetts and the Soros and the Bill Gates and et cetera. Give me the other ones. The princes from whatever Nigeria that only needs $500 million or whatever needs $500 to raise $500 million, and you'll get your gems and your stones. Like all of that shit. These guys don't operate around us. We're their market. We're their cash. They're looking at us as like, how do I get their money into my pocket? How do I do that? And they are looking at us that way. We're their cattle, so to speak. We fight their wars. We build their skyscrapers. We build their homes. We build the highways. We give them water. We fix their food. We clean their apartments or homes. We make their cars. We do all that. They don't. All they do is fund us with money, and we partake in that society, and then they try to figure out a way to get that money back. These guys don't fucking operate normally, and it's so small. I would expect, like in Epstein and Clinton's, they all run, and those politicians, those are all just parasites on them. These guys are all the shakers and movers in the world, to be fair. I'm not throwing any conspiracy out there. They just are. Go ahead.
I'm chomping at the bits to give two famous people quotes to illustrate your point that you just made. George Carlin, it's a small club and you ain't in it. And then Dave Chappelle to an audience, y'all just think you're white people, but you don't actually meet the real white people until you make $100 million.
Wait, is even in that circle 100 million a lot of money?
I mean, it was a joke.
I'm not
you get the point.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like it's too weird, man. Like if they can't release that list, right, it gotta be really fucked up. Right? Like even the house of Epstein, right? $80 million mansion, the most expensive house in at least in the upper north of New York, that he got for $1. You know, they got our dear friend from JP Morgan that wired him, I believe it was $150 million Like, what the fuck do you know that somebody's like, okay, here comes the money?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand.
That is some. It's got to be super fucking dark, man. Darker than hell, if you ask me. If somebody's like, yeah, I'm gonna send you this money, right? And we're not talking about $50 or $100. I think it was $150 million. By the way, Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Jean-Marie Luc, was locked up in France, arrested, suicided in the same way as Epstein. I don't know anybody knew this, but it's got to be really messed up, Matt. But whatever the fuck that means for me.
I hear you on it, and I don't discount the facts. Like, I mean, there is some. I firmly believe Epstein was killed. I don't buy it. But I want to get First Lady in here because she's just sitting here quietly, acting all cute and stuff. First Lady, what do you think about this? Where do you think this is going to end up?
No, Vic, don't laugh at him. He's crazy.
He can't afford his medication anymore.
I can't afford my medication. What are you talking about?
Fuck you, Brad.
No, you know, Brad, I really and truly, I don't know. I just feel like, you know, I was listening to some of the ladies today, and, you know, to hear they started when they were 14 and now they're this age. You know, I'm glad that they are getting the reprieve that they need. I'm just really afraid of what might come out. I don't know. I don't know. I just wish that maybe they could just pay the women. Like, did they ever get any payment from this, or like, is there a way to compensate them? I don't know. It's scary. It can go really bad. That's what I think. And you know me, I'm always trying to avoid conflict. So whatever leads us to peace is where I would like for us to be. I don't know that this is going to be that. I just wish they would never open this mess up. And what is the conversation about when they say Biden didn't do this and so on? I don't know, because I never really thought that it would ever come out, to be honest with you. So now that we're here and it's getting closer and closer and people keep pushing, I feel like they're just going to open up a can of worms that can't be closed.
I agree with you. I think the more people that push this narrative and push, you know, what you're not going to like this, and for the people on the left, and I know, lady, like primarily your room runs on the left, they should be very cautious about their Trump's the pedo, because it could come out. Trump may have like screwed an underage girl. It could have. He didn't do it in Epstein Island because he ain't been there. Like, at least that's so far. We learned that from the Maxwell files. We learned that later on, allegedly, or at least documented and under deposition and all these things. And Maxwell said under oath, in order to be transferred, and all of these things that she has in motion to be kept alive, she said that Trump's not partook in any of those events, and that wasn't at Epstein Island. So if Trump's not been there, and he's only been on the plane a couple of times, there's a possibility he could have done something. Probably, maybe, I don't know. But I'm saying there's a lot more likely when you have like Michael Jackson's name up in there, when you have Bill Clinton's name, and you have, you know, the Juanita Broderick story that still won't go away because she still didn't get satisfaction. That's coming out. So I'm saying that Democrats should really be kind of like stopping the ants, because that's going to affect a lot of their donor base. Like Schiff's name's up in there, that circle. Like he was brought up in there. A lot of Californians, in the Pelosi, she's going to be thrown in there. Probably her husband. That name's going to probably drop. I mean, these are players. Like, that market's going to swirl around it, and that's going to be their lasting legacy. And the more you hope for it, which I'm all for it, let's see it, but I mean, you may not like the results. That rubber band has a way of springing back.
But you're saying the Democrats, but the Republicans are the one that's pushing for it. Marjorie, she was right in front. Today, she was right at the press conference. She was smiling and everything. She had a cute little outfit on. So the Republicans are pushing just as hard as the Dems are pushing for this.
Yeah, MAGA's been pushing for this for a while because they believe it pretty much is the DNC, which I would say it is an agreement. Like even the photos with Trump and Epstein, you look at the dates, yeah, he's going to be around Epstein because, again, those were donor events, donor organizations, donor parties. You see a whole lot of people there that are donating money for the DNC. Those are fundraising dinners. So, yes, Trump's going to be in the vicinity of Epstein, and because those were donor lists. But what I'm saying is, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I really wish we could get rid of the AOCs and MGTs. Or MTGs, I don't know, whatever butch bad built bodies they have. I wish we could just get past them and actually just prosecute who we need to. But Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to have a point. She's going to be cleaning this. She can go out front, and she represents a good, significant portion of MAGA, and she's going to go to the two because they want it. They want it. That's who really wants it, not the whole Republican list, because they also know there's a lot of financiers that they have to go to for money. And that's going to hurt. That's going to really hurt.
Did you listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene last week on the Megyn Kelly show? It was either last week or the week before.
No, I'm sorry. You'll have to give it to us. I'll listen to it now if you have it, or if you just want to recap it.
Well, she had her for the whole hour. It was just a one-on-one interview for the whole hour. So they went through a range of topics. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, I've never heard her sound more with it and current and smart and, in a way that it goes against the popular perception of her. So it was a great interview.
Do you want to give us what did she say on it, in relation to this point, or?
About the Epstein stuff, I don't remember specifically, but I would still recommend the episode.
Okay. Right. But I'm still wondering, because when I look now, even the list of the statements by the survivors today, with Marjorie Taylor Greene there, I'm looking and I'm like, you got Massey filing the discharge position, Rokana wants to vote to compel the Justice Department to release all of them. But when you go to look at some of the antics by Democrat PAC committees, you see, First Lady and Derisive, you see some actions that I don't know. Why are you going to judges to try to block releases? I don't. You're saying you want this, but then there seems to be dueling fights within both parties, and apparently one lower tiered ranking side, I would say Marjorie Taylor Greene's and Massey's, who aren't normally at the leadership tables, they're fighting for something. And the upper tier is saying, shut the fuck up, sit down. You don't understand how much this will financially ruin or impact us directly, and how many people are actually going to be caught up in this. It's going to be the movers and shakers. It's going to be Hollywood, and it's going to be kings and queens of other countries and parliaments of other countries, that are going to be involved in this. And that's what I honestly think.
Yeah, that has to be part of it too. Just that they would have to spend a ton of political capital to release this and probably not receive any huge benefits to them. And it would probably upset many of our allies also.
But what I'm saying is, I'm trying to think, Trump could drop this on his office, just automatically release this all the way out. I wonder if he's using, and I'm going to say this, Trump is really good at branding and marketing. He knows how to play these hit pieces. A lot of people have forgotten that when, the Billy Bush tape dropped, people said that was the end of Trump. His popularity dropped, or blah, blah, blah. Then the next thing you know, Trump comes out on stage with all of the victims, all the rape people, right in front of the Bill fucking Clinton, and basically slaps that in there. So that's pretty impressive. I don't know. I'm looking at this and going, is Trump using this to gain leverage over the midterms and to use it as a political capital tool and trying to draw it out so that he can hurt certain Democrats? Or is he trying to draw it out to hurt for the 2028 election to make sure that who he picks is the successor, and he drops that bombshell onto whoever. So someone like Newsom or somebody who may be involved could end up, in a lot of trouble. I don't know. But what do the rest of you guys think? You're all in the audience, really quiet. Usually you guys come up on stages. What's going on today?
Is it my presence? It's me.
No,
That's what.
It's not you. It's just something's weird today. This topic alone, people don't want to touch.
I don't. I want to avoid it as much as possible. I think the more we talk about it, the more people get excited about it. Everybody was foaming at the mouth. All the Epstein shows coming at the eyes, coming out the mind. I'm like, oh my God, whatever. And so people just, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. Like I've heard people come to me, Trump's a pedo. Really? Where's that conviction case? Where's that proof? Where's that? Well, I don't have anything, but he won't release the files. There's lots of reasons why presidents don't release the files. Fuck. Obama didn't release a shit ton of files. We asked for the JFK files, and those never got released. That was starting. We asked for the Iran-Contra files. Those never got released. That happened under Clinton. So, I mean, we always have files that are never always released. We always ask for information. Presidents promise some things, partially deliver. Most of the time, don't deliver. And we're stuck holding the bag. And then we just move on to the next big shiny thing. I don't know. This one seems to be plaguing Trump a little bit, but I think it's also due to his own action. And part of me really wants to think he's using it as a marketing tool. It just screams of that from his prior antics, lady.
Well, that's the scary part. I'm like, well, why would you even do this? Why would you play around like that? Now, I don't know. Do you think that the previous presidents actually saw the files? Like, they really know what's in it? Like, the names and everything? You think that?
I think some of them know who's, like, here's what I think. I don't think there's an actual list. Well, there may be a list. There's at least incriminating evidence out there. There's something out there. Otherwise, Maxwell would be dead. Like, let's call it for what it is. She would have been killed. I don't believe Epstein hung himself with a sheet. That stuff's not really happening. And I think, honestly, there's something that's at least evidence enough that protect her and give her some kind of leverage against other people. I also think, in terms of it, I think some of the events and some of the parties are much like a P. Diddy party. A lot of people that were there, they got oiled up, they saw who was around, and just like when P. Diddy went to trial, a lot of people out in P. Diddy's orbit and network got fucking nervous, and they continued to get nervous, and they acted nervous, and they weren't necessarily, clean cut, and they're like, God, I did this, and they started running. They deleted their social media. They did all sorts of weird things. I think the same thing. A lot of people know who is there at certain parties. I mean, who's not going to remember? I'm going to be honest. Like, someone's going to remember having like some kind of orgy with Bill Clinton. I'm just saying, there's going to be people there. You know what I mean?
There's a young lady today at a press conference saying that she went on a trip to Africa and Kitover.
I didn't hear you, hon. What was that?
Sorry, I'm out in the field today. There was a lady at a press conference today saying that she went to Africa on the trip to Africa.
The lady, you mean one of the speakers? They're
Yes.
going to release. Yeah, they're going to release their list. Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to do it, and Massey is filing a right to petition. So there's a couple things going on in terms of the Epstein file. It's just, with all the shit in the world, I'm with the First Lady on this, wherever she went. She disappeared. I'm with her on this one. Like, it's not my big, like, it's an issue. I definitely would like the people prosecuted, but they're going to escape justice. Again, we don't hobnob with it, and we're asking the people who make the rules, who broke the rules, to somehow be accountable to the rules. Just doesn't seem to ever work out well for us. So I'm less than hopeful. So Epstein hasn't consumed me like it has others. But apparently there's going to be some headway. Marjorie Taylor Greene is taking up the fight, and she's got a vocal piece, and she'll be on every news network screaming about it. So My personal belief is that woman doesn't do anything without Donald Trump say so. I honestly believe Trump's using this as a marketing tool. That's where it comes down to. I don't think he's actually anything what the left is ascribing him to be and putting out in the narratives. I think he is quite basically playing bait and switch, and he's going to like reveal something, and he's going to be like, told you. Yeah, he flew to me. Yeah, I flew on his plane. He flew on mine a couple times, but nothing bad happened. Here are my witnesses. Here's the evidence. And oh, by the way, here's a list of all the people that were raping little kids. And he's going to just throw it out there, and it's all going to be Democrat and financiers, and it's going to be a shit show.
Brad, you're 100% correct, and I predict in probably 5 hours, maybe 24 hours, Adam Shifty Schiff and others will say, Donald Trump's administration violated a court order and released the files. They weren't supposed to release the files. This is breaking the law. And they'll say that. It's like, well, didn't you say you wanted the files released, and what was Trump hiding? And now that he released them to Congress, and Congress released them, now you're mad? Like, it's the most genius play because Congress released them, right? And DOJ just complied with what Congress asked. So, I think more will come out, and it'll be like, oh, shit. Because Dems probably thought, Trump can't release it because DOJ is courts or the judiciary is stopping them from releasing it. So, therefore, we can keep tying it to him, and we can win the midterms. And now Trump is like, hey, we're releasing it to Congress. They're releasing it, and they're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, I've just seen Trump do stupid things like this. Like, well, it's not stupid because he's actually a genius. I've just seen him dangle like a lure in front of people, and people like bid on that really hard, and then he's marketed. Like, the motherfucker got shot and still had the wherewithal to put his fist in the air. I mean, you can't, like, that's going to be iconic. Literally, there's going to be a statue. I promise you this. There is going to be a statue someday of Donald Trump, or there's going to be a coin, or there's going to be something. And it's going to be Donald Trump with the Secret Service grabbing at him and him holding his fist in the air. And there is going to be something said, because that image was super powerful. It cemented his legacy for all time. This, again, like, the man is just, it just seems he does these things and he just lets them nibble, and then when they swallow the hook, he just like goes, let me show you how you got caught. And then he lays it out there. And he's done this too many times. I don't get it. Like, his immunity clause, no one would have thought he got that passed, but he did. What else you got?
Did you see NBC? I think they met some of the victims and they did this sit down. They said, the President of the United States, did you see his name mentioned in any inappropriate acts or anything? And they all said no. Did you see that video, Brad? And they all said no, we haven't. And like the host was shocked. She was like, I think it was today.
Yeah, and that's not the first time Trump has sat down with the deposition. So, I mean, I'm always confused by this shit, like, where people think, Trump is this one. And the left going out and screaming, oh, Trump is the pedo. You can't. You don't have it. You don't have the evidence. Just like people are saying, oh, he's a rapist. Okay, where's his conviction for rape? Oh, you mean the tale where he had to pay, and that's still going through all of its areas? Had to pay that woman for her 20-year late attack, where she made a story up about how he bought out an expensive market store in New York City in the middle of the week, told everybody to leave, and then somehow grabbed her, threw her in a changing booth, and forcefully entered her. And you'll have Democrat shows saying that this occurred and this is rape and proof positive. But magically, there's no cameras. The woman never reported, which, to be fair, women oftentimes do not report all incidents of sexual assault. But then this woman sits there and hides under a Democrat shill PAC person who's backing up anything anti-Trump, and gets her to pay for her entire lifestyle, pay for her lawsuit, then petitions the Democrats in New York State city to change a law so that they could go after Trump and file this to extend it and not approve it for anybody else and then retract the law. I have an issue with this. When we're just making up laws to target somebody, this just seems like theater. And it's not the first time Democrats did this. They did it with a Supreme Court pick. I think Trump just plays them, and then he's got to do a coup de grace soon because, I mean, the Democrats are really swallowing this hook and they're about to eat it. And I don't know why he's waiting so long to pull the trigger, but I think.
So, excuse me, please pause. Your title, Epstein Files, looking like a DNC journalist. What does that mean? Has any names on the side? I'm out in the field today, so can you explain your title?
Yeah, so Epstein, the victims held a conference today. There was some movement. There's going to be 30,000 files released today, or 30,000 documents released today, or maybe yesterday they were dumped. And then Massey's going to petition for a right to pursue. Then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene going through. And it looks like the list, or what people are calling out the names, it seems more like not Democrats like Bill Clinton, except for Donald Trump and Ellen Dershowitz. You got Copperfield, Jean-Luc Brunel, French modeling scout, Michael Jackson. These are all Democrat primary players. And then you have the list from the Gouffre lawsuit against Maxwell. And that listed out some prominent movers and shakers in that orbit. And let's not forget, Trump at that time was a Democrat. So, I mean, the only one that was really surprising to me was, Hawking. I'm still confused on that one, but even he was thrown into that list of names. So there seems to be a lot going on in terms of movements with the list. And I just wanted people's take on it, to offer me anything about the Epstein files they want to. Okay.
Thanks.
Now, we as a society.
Do you think any sitting members of Congress are going to be named in those? I think Nadler's on it.
Well, also you didn't have to look at
Nadler
was going to become under scrutiny, and then as a society and public is going to have to say what would be deemed okay to be associated with him or not, to include donations. So Schumer received a lot of money from Epstein, which I'm sure a lot of other sitting congressmen have as well. So are we going to then give the guilty by accepted donation of Epstein to be an issue or not, so to speak?
Oh, come on up, Moose. I know you have something to say. Who's A Solomon? And S is back. Alyssa's back. Ludwig. Oh, Patricia's here too. It's all good. Everybody's coming out. This is about time.
Hello, Mr. Broad.
Hello. What do you think about all this?
I think, forgive my English first, but I think it is not blue or red case. It's the whole nation case, and it's related to JFK assassination and what comes out after this assassination. The whole United States of America came under a gang rule from the White House, take its independence, into a very, very, very bad passage. You are now just discussing the results of this, decisions of, you can describe it at like a very long crisis. It's really hard to describe it by time, but you can take it by events. Year after year, the United States came under very tight control of a real gang. has its rule. And its rule now is coming in opposite with the real constitution of the United States of America, where being the end of the independence wars. It's a very historical case because the United States of America, it's the states, many states were in a war for long years, and they has ended with a deal. The West and the East and the North and South, they got a deal to make a real one country, big and strong. They got it. And so many presidents led this nation into a very, very good level of hegemony. They control themselves until they control the world. But in this very turning point in the history of America, after reaching a very high historical imperial, I don't know where it exactly, but I can mark it with Mr. Ford, who created Ford for cars. He talked about this point. When they control the press, control the police, control the foreign affairs, control everything. And for last step, control the Congress. You can call them IPAC group as they will, yeah. But those guys has an opposite party right now. I can talk a little bit about them if I'm not taking anyone's part to talk.
No, like I that's good for now.
I could try
Thank you. And forgive my English, please. I'm just.
No, you're fine. We understand.
Thank you.
No problem. Go ahead, mister.
Yeah, I think it's very rare, and it's fascinating how some people just walk out of their butts when it comes to regarding to foreign funding. I think we just heard someone who just blamed AIPAC, which is number 20 on the list of campaign funds. And these are the types of misconceptions that I feel like we generally continues to go through because of propaganda and misinformation that people just blab out, thinking they're right, even though nobody really could understand with his accent. And people, especially from outside the United States, would love to put pressure on Americans and tell them lies because for them, they just like to see Americans fight conflict within each other. And it's a prime example of why foreign nationals shouldn't be really speaking about America. And in regards to the room title, Jeffrey Epstein, I understand what Jeffrey Epstein did was wrong, and did he have nefarious reasons or maybe blackmail people? I have no idea. But at the same time, we still see people glossing over themselves when they talk to Tates, where in reality they're still alive, still committing the crimes, and nobody's actually focusing on what's happening currently and dwelling on things that happened in the past where we can really physically change. And maybe we can put some reparations to the victims. These are things that I don't even ever hear. It's more or less like who we're going to catch with their names rather than giving the victims who are the only people that are valuable in this conversation and giving them an opportunity for what they went through. And I think that's more or less what I really want to say, because in reality, there's these pedos all over our country doing all these types of crimes, and not many people even care. And to sugarcoat it on these elites, we know it happens. It's still currently happening, as you mentioned with P. Diddy. These things are way too rampant, and if we actually wanted to stop something, we should, and we should do it for the people that are alive rather than people that already died.
I agree with that. And what do you think is going to be the outcome of this, Mark?
I think it's a witch hunt. I think both parties are going to weaponize it, even though all elites are going to be on this list. We've already seen a lot of left-wing, but Bill Clinton went into business with this guy for many different reasons, and I won't put anything past the Clintons. And to be honest with you, I don't think we'll ever. I think it's more like a red herring where people just like to talk about it, but it doesn't actually change anything down the line. Nothing would happen, even if we do know or we don't know anything. Nothing's gonna actually happen to your average Joe.
What would you think, on this list? I mean, obviously there would be implications. Epstein has his connections. He's going to have a lot of more liberal-minded. Merkel's Germany. England. He's gonna we're well aware there's a prince on there. I'm pretty sure if there's a prince on a list to Epstein Island, I'm pretty freaking sure that there's going to be other more prominent leaders. There's going to be people from Israel, Egypt, maybe Egypt, I guess. You're going to have a lot of Middle Eastern connections there. You're going to have a lot of European connections there. There's even the Trudeau connection. So all of this is starting to kind of, from a security asset, for national security, I do see that there's a danger in this, that this can spiral out of control if it's not actually done the correct way, which a lot of people will say that's not how we should do it. But we really don't want to go to wars with a lot of nations, and we don't want to lose some of the things that we have going on currently and what we have built in the past to be implicated. Not excusing the behavior, but I just don't see how we're going to go snatch somebody from, say, Italy, or, go snatch Prince Andrew. We're not going to get that person. You're not going to get justice from Prince Andrew. I'm just letting you guys know.
Exactly, Brad. This is why all along investigate. If they don't tell you, the normal person, what the fuck they're doing. But how far can they really go up to all of these high-profile individuals, right? And heads of states. It's just wild. It really is.
Mari, what do you think?
I wouldn't give up the intel. In reality, if I have something like Prince Andrew, I'll go to them and be like, I'll expose it, and I'll get something out of it if I'm the United States and have that information. That's my personal. I'm more interested in who's not on that list. Who knew to stay the hell away, and not because they knew, because they're not sick like the people on the list, but more like I know what's going on. That's more interesting to me than anything else, because there is Ehud Barak, Israeli prime minister, is on that list. Things like that, especially when I hear Israel and Mossad, it doesn't make sense. Israeli politicians and government wouldn't be openly with the person if they knew he was a spy that's collecting info and gonna eventually blackmail, which we all think end up happening with this list. So I'm more interested in who's not on the list, who knew what was going on and didn't say anything, because there's no way Russia's KGB isn't sensing that something's weird happening with all these world leaders with this one particular person. And that's more, I feel like more agencies knew what was going on and probably weaponized it for themselves too.
So it could be used as a security asset going forward to leverage potential political partnerships or use of threat.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think Russia, KGB would weaponize the crap out of it. They would get a sniff of it, and they'll use it for their advantage. And do we know any Russian politician or Soviet Union politician was on the list? I don't think we ever can hear a peek of it.
Hey, Patricia, I gotta take a call real quick. You guys keep going. You feel free to deviate to another topic if this one just draws out and nobody really wants to comment, because it does seem to, all these Epstein ones, once you get past the attacks and you start getting to the meats and potatoes, they just seem to die out, because even those that are on the left, they just go Trump's a pedo, and that's all they got. He won't release the Epstein, so that automatically makes him a pedo, which when you start diving into the facts and start naming the people on it, then all of a sudden they don't want to talk about it, and that becomes an issue. Let me take this call real quick, and I'll be back in like 5.
Okay. Anybody new on stage that wants to talk about this subject that has not spoken yet? I believe that's Oscars or Michael or DJ Friday.
I guess I could speak about it. I feel like there's a lot of assumptions where people just come to the conclusion that there was a giant ring. I mean, there were 3 people, I think, who Jeffrey Epstein abused, right, who testified against him in Congress. I hear people say things like thousands of people. It's like the biggest ring ever. That's just a lie, you know? I would be interested if there's like real evidence of that. I would be interested in it, but it just seems like people have just built and built and built on this, and it's to the point that like when you know the Democrats, right? This has always been kind of a Republican talking point. When you know the Democrats are at the point that they just keep repeating it, you know that they're cynical about it, right? Like the only people that we know who may have been, visiting the island are like far left Democrats, right? From both America, the UK, Israel, all the countries involved, it's their left, right? They're liberals. So if there's anybody that's involved, right, it would be the Democrat Party for sure, right? But they're out there saying release everything. Makes you think that, oh, okay, they're just calling us retarded, and just throwing it back at us, That's what I think. But
Yeah. It's kind of like a cyclical pattern that doesn't make sense, and that's why it's confusing to the public. So, we've had the alleged Epstein survivors. They had a big press conference today, and they urged Trump to release the names. But even though they say they already know the names, but won't tell us what the names are. So how does that make sense? And sorry, I'll let you go next again, Michael. So why did they not do this 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, right? It doesn't make sense. Go.
Yeah, I'm just going to agree with you. I mean, of course, just like you're saying, is now, quote unquote, the Democrats pushing for it, right? The Democrats are saying release it. When they were in power, couldn't release it. If they didn't release it, right? They didn't talk about it, which again, adds more of okay, if the Democrats were the ones who had something to do with it, and now they want you to release it, okay, it happened under Obama, right? So it's how if there is a list, has it been messed with? What's going on now? It just seems like so out of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like we are now, since it's been so long and that it's changed administration hands, how much of that list has been tampered with and how much actually can be validated via truth instead of bullying to be one political side or the other. I think, it's just my personal opinion, I think they're on both sides of the aisle that will be attached in some way, shape, or form with this. Predatory behavior is not just Republican or Democrat, they're just sicko humans. What I worry about is that there won't be And two things, they'll be weaponized in a way that any just guilty by association related to being in the exact same room with that person will be used as a narrative to demean people or to minimize their actual character or that capacity. Right, so we have to be careful of that. And the flip side of it is that we actually minimize or also forget the potential national security assets that are attached to this, that if exposed would be a detriment to our overall agenda on our three-letter agency side. For those thinking that a three-letter agency is not attached or known to this years, would be silly to even think that. Of course they are. Augustus, if you're there, what do you think about this?
Honestly, like, it seems to me that, like, this is just, basically, like, a way to undermine the administration and, create, like, a firestorm in the media. It's the perfect formula to do both. I really don't think that it's important to getting shit done, you know? If you want to go after sex rings, go after the cartels. You know? They're fucking putting razor blades in kids' mouths and raping them at the border. You know? But that's just my take. I think that, like, the administration pretty much has got themselves into quite a pickle with this. I think that a lot of it's bullshit, and that there's nothing really that we're gonna do or see that's gonna change anything. You know, it's like, how does this stop big pharma? How does this stop big food? How does this stop big ag? How does this stop big tech from slowly but surely and systematically stripping you of your rights, stripping you of your livelihood, stripping you of your health, stripping you of your dignity? This is a distraction, a big distraction, in my opinion. A lot. And then migrants or illegals that have come over the border. Where are we at with that?
Well, I don't know the latest figure, but the last that I saw, they were able to, the current administration was able to locate, I think, close to 1,000 children that had been brought into the U.S., not separated from their biological families. So I think they are trying to make headway, but you make a very good point. Like, what good would just come out of it other than just the obvious per se? Like, is this a distraction? And I don't know. I think what's frustrating a lot of Republicans is the fact that we land on this. Yes, we'll release it. Yes, we'll release it. But nothing that has been released, or in my opinion, that will further be released would be good enough for the Democrats or anyone that's looking for the release of information. like they're asking for a little book with some sort of mafioso movie or a damn reveal, clients that did this and the actual terrible acts that they did. And I don't know, that could exist, maybe it could not exist, but
I mean, I think that you make a.
Go ahead, Michael.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I think you make a really good point. I also, though, I would just say that I didn't vote for Trump over the Epstein list. I voted for Trump because I wanted to close the border, and people and, fix things that Biden had done, right? And Trump's doing those things, right? He's doing all the things he promised. The thing about the Epstein list is yesterday they released like the subpoena documents from like the grand jury or whatever from something, right? So they released all the court documents that they have, which normally they don't do that. But the reality is that court documents are not going to say what everybody is talking about right now. The court documents is just going to talk about whether or not these people who, it's focused on the victims, right, as all court documents are. I think that there are probably some public people named on planes, right, but it doesn't necessarily, unless I'm wrong, I doubt that the documents necessarily incriminate those people, right, and they're probably not out there, right, at least in like the court, right. What I'm trying to say is I don't see, like, from like, the Republican perspective, if there is a list, and it's hidden, we're not going to get it from the court documents, right? If there isn't a list, then we'll never get it, and nobody will be happy, right? So there's no way to win, right? Yeah. But what's most important is Trump is delivering on the things that he said he would deliver on, right? And people were saying, but the Epstein list, like, well, Trump ran on XYZ. He ran on closing the border, which he closed day one. He ran on his big, beautiful bill, which he passed, right? And he ran on, like, restoring freedom to Europe and other things, right? And, getting out of wars, which he's already ended 7 wars, by the way, so that's just my, I really like Trump, but that's my opinion.
Also, Michael, if you think about what the Epstein list is like, okay, we put a label on what a lot of people actually voted for was just overall better transparency from our three-letter agencies, right? I think the Epstein list kind of just holds that labeling to ensure, the people are reminded that the government works for us and safety and protect us. It's not going to be weaponized and used against us or weaponized or used to protect other people. So when Trump was running on that, at least that's what we were saying, what we wanted to hear is like just transparency. Again, why weren't these today 33,000 pages of that part of that file released? Well, why wasn't that released a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? They should have. Obviously they could have, but they didn't. And then someone added in the chat, did anyone mention the victims here? They'll release the names themselves. Yes, we said that. We talked about that early, Dottie. So this is the confusing part. Why would they have, why would the Epstein survivors do a press conference asking for the names to be released by the president when they already had the names of of those who were attached to Epstein, but they haven't shared them yet? That doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of like a cyclical pattern. So yeah, we did talk about that earlier. Let's go ahead, Anthony. I saw that you wanted to join the conversation.
Hey, KK, I hope all is well. Brad, I hope all is well. Thank you for inviting me to the stage. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, I'm tired of the Epstein files. I'm tired of this Epstein nonsense. I think it's a useless conversation. I'm happy to have any conversation. I'm not above, any conversation, but it's like, I think it's a distraction. And, it's like, Ghislaine, she could obviously compromised. So it's to actually get to the honest to goodness truth. I don't see it happening. I think that a lot of the players, they're not as influential as they were. You know, it is what it is. That's my take on this whole Epstein nonsense.
Could you accept that the Epstein stuff is nonsense, but it's helpful for American politics to have all the idiots in America distracted for the next year on the Epstein stuff might actually be good?
Well, it kind of depends, man. I think that, right now, Trump is using shorthand to get through his policies. It's unfortunate. He's got to use the executive order, sleight of hand, shorthand, whatever you want to call it, but if we could get some traction in the midterms and we could actually, really institute some stuff, that would be great. But I think that we're going to feel a period of pain on the way to things getting better. And I think people are going to equate that pain with Trump. And I think the Democrats are going to get a toehold in the midterm elections.
I think you should consider the possibility that the discussion of the Epstein stuff is crowding out something that could be really destructive. So what I see is there's a bunch of idiots that want to be angry about something, that want to protest something, and it's almost like the Epstein stuff, it's a very safe distraction because let's put it this way, no matter how angry people are about Epstein, it's not going to cause the deportations to slow down, right? And no matter how angry they are about Epstein, it's not going to cause a slowdown in the things that really matter. So I could almost say that it's helpful. It's just helpful for our society to have something that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter, to distract the idiots, while what's really important in our society is able to happen without interruption. And I'm eager to hear criticism.
I hope you're right, Mark.
So what's it? Hold on just a second. That you guys had it. What's interesting is we're holding on to it. It's the fact that, and I think the fact that the Democrats are holding on to this so hard is because what else do they have, right? What else do they have? So they're like, oh, this salacious topic. They haven't done exactly what Trump said we would do. They've done a bit of it, but not all of it. So then they're able to go back, see, you didn't uphold the reason why you voted for him. But again, if we would have brought up the fact that, okay, he's released more than the last administration before, but the Democrats are so silly that they're not even taking a proactive measure or actions to be able to combat anything that Trump has done. Go online and say, what are the top things, top platform items that Trump ran on, and go down the list of the items that he has not addressed yet within his first 8-9 months of office. Then you are proactive with that. They're lazy, and they actually are still running on everything Trump that orange man, that they're desperate for something that's low-hanging fruit, very salacious to distract, but they can't admit to the fact that he's covered probably over half the items that he ran on. So here we have a politician actually taking action upon the things that he's running on, and they're fucking frustrated with that. But they're so silly, and they are so focused on one little thing to make them appear bad in any way that they are, that they're not even looking at the things that Trump haven't even addressed. Like one of them is he said that we will protect innocent lives, so that's attached on abortion. When's the last time we've heard anything about abortion? In quite some time in the news cycles? Not much at all. So I'm going to go on mute. Welcome to the stage, Pepe and John, if you guys would like to join. Oh, and a new Pepe returns profile just added to that Pepe. And I know that man. All right, so I'll go ahead and let other people speak.
I'm just checked. I'm back now. I'm just going to say this. For those of you, I know a lot of you, you guys come to rooms and all that stuff and love political discussions. But Jane, I'm going to highlight you every time you come into our rooms because you sat in a room with Edmund, also known as John Kitover, said how great it was to go after my work, and you gave him all that. Yeah, you gave me the thumbs up. So Jane is a, since you don't mind doxing and releasing it, I want you to hear some of the things that actually happened. So my daughters received threatening calls. My daughters ended up getting messages somehow on nefarious streets, telling them that they were going to be raped. Oh, she left? She didn't want to hear about my daughters being raped.
No, Miss, protect all women. Protect the women.
Yeah, she didn't want that.
Consequences to certain women.
Oh, so Brad, you were doxxed in real life. I'm sorry, I've been away, so just share with. Go ahead and just speak it on the audience.
Her and Edmund held a room and started releasing my work info, and then saying they were going to call the FBI and all that because Edmund, who you guys don't know is John Kitover, is running a fake political scam on Clubhouse. So please don't donate to him. He and you have to give your information up. Like, understand that there's like legalities you have to jump through to actually give that idiot money. So he decided to open a room because I told everybody that this is a scam, this is a vile piece of shit. I would never vote for him, and he took offense to that, oddly enough, because I can say Biden, I would never vote for it. He's vile. Apparently you can't say that to John Kitover because Jane gets offended. So she went into a room and said, oh my God, Brad's a horrific being. You should definitely go ahead and do this. I work in HR. Let me help you figure this all out. And so there's a nice, wonderful YouTube video. There, you can go to John Kitover's, one of his 25 different personality profiles on Clubhouse, and you can go check the video, and you can see Jane and some idiot named Kitty sitting up there and having a row at releasing my information and then posting it, which now has led to my dog getting like interesting messages from a couple people who've dug that deep, particularly the one about rape. I love that. And you know what's really funny is these guys hit from names, but you had no problem doing that. Jane Rosenwade, who sits at home, who I could release her information all over this page, including your house address. So I could do that on the internet and create a problem and a stir for you, especially on Twitter. I could definitely release that. There's definitely sane people on Twitter that wouldn't retaliate at all. So that's half of my issue there, KK, is that she came into this room thinking she could just hang out here and be kind, and didn't think I would call her out on it. And when I came back from the call, there she was sitting in the audience, and then she gave a thumbs up as if she was so proud of it. So that ugly fat cunt can fucking go melt off. I don't give a fuck if the worst of the worst horrific things have ever happened to humanity happened to that woman. I would smile and laugh and keep it moving because that's how I feel. And you endangered my kids as far as I'm concerned, and now you're a threat. So Jane, just know I would definitely be cautious in the future about me. All right, so let's go back to the discussion. We were discussing what really they don't care about kids, because KK, you brought this up earlier. 700 kids are being held. They were found in the United States, close to 1,000, but I believe the number was actually 700. And they're trying to be reunited with their parents from like Guadalupe and other countries. The Democrats filed a motion. This is how fucking retarded this shit goes. They filed to find a judge, multiple judges, to prevent the kids from being reunited with their parents who want their kids back. But the Democrats don't want to send them back to their parents. I cannot make this shit up. It's literally true. It's 100% true. You can Google this shit all day long. I'm not lying about this. I have no idea why a Democrat would like sign their name to something and then say, hey, let's find a Democrat-friendly judge to prevent this current administration from uniting kids with their actual fucking parents who happen to be in another country. That makes no sense to me. Somebody on the left needs to explain this one, because quite frankly, you guys only care about abortion and you sure as hell don't fucking care about kids. So spare me with any time you talk about kids or school shootings, because you fuckers really don't give a fuck about school shootings. Or kids. You can say all you want to, but you don't. You don't.
Brad, I feel like you brought up like a really important point right there. Obviously what happened is terrible and that the Democrats are stopping that. But I think the most important point is whatever the Republicans do or go for, it doesn't matter what issue, you will always find Democrats to try to go against them. So like on these issues where it's like, who wouldn't want to reunite kids with their family members? And they were probably, separated by like drug cartels or some horrible situation. Who knows what they went through? But you still find Democrats who are on the other side of this issue. And it's probably a 90-10 issue. 90% of the people, it could be a 95-5 issue where 95% of the people in the country agree with you, Brad. But ultimately, the most disgusting is the fact that the mainstream media will paint over what's going on and try to make it look like a 60-40 issue in favor of the Democrats. They'll lie about what's going on. They'll lie about the intentions. They'll lie about what the judges are doing, right? They'll lie about everything. And it's just insane.
I agree with you. No matter what the Republicans do, like, I'm thoroughly confused. Why is it 700 kids being reunited with their parents, who those kids were technically, some of them were actually kidnapped and brought here illegally by, illegal immigrants, the ones that are being deported? They weren't family members. They used them to get into the country. Hey, so why are you interrupting me? They're not American citizens. They're being reunited with their parents. I don't give a fuck if they were. They're little kids. They belong with their parents. Tell me this.
You can't kidnap anybody's kid and send them anywhere. If they're here and they're American citizens, like whose right is it to just
they're not American citizens
and send them anything?
Yeah, apparently you didn't listen. They're not American citizens. They were used to cross the border to gain asylum. They were used in lies. They were used in sexual manipulation. They were used as trafficking. They were used as proxies. And they're trying to reunite them. And the DNC, which Katie is going to tell me about how parallel they are and how magnanimous they are trying to block the return of 700 kids to their parents.
Post the article for me to read, Fred, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Can you hold on just a second, please? So people might be wondering, like, okay, why would parents or in this case that Bryce talked about, a lot of the kids are Guatemalan. So why would these parents in Guatemala have their kids, drop them off, and give them to cartel members, get them across the border? It's because then they are then put into homes in sanctuary states that they know they'll be able to collect federal funding for underneath that actual roof. Now, why this became a prevalent problem that we have today is because under the Biden administration, they stopped taking the DNA tests to be able to connect a biological parent or family member to the actual child to reunify them together. So that was addressed. Tom Palmer talked about that. That was the old practice, and then they removed that. So Mr. Holman has worked for several different administrations in his current role today. So he can be the first person to be able to say, they did this during this administration, they took it away in this administration, they're doing this in this administration. These are the trickle-down effect of adverse effects for these children in particular, but it's a money game. It's a money game. These parents or the households where they stick these children in are actually receiving federal funding and money. That's all it is. It's a money grab. So we can say, oh, we have this person here. We have to take care of this person. Oh, we're applying for under this name for this child. That's exactly what it is. It's all for the money.
I just was gonna ask, could somebody post an article? I haven't heard about 700 kids being kidnapped. So let me read what you guys were talking about before I read it. Maybe you could put it at the top or something. I don't know.
Did you say kidnapped?
Yeah, she said kidnapped, bro. Like, are you not listening to what they're saying? How many times do they have to say it? Do they need to say it in another language for you to understand? Like I just don't understand where you're getting these.
What is the proper word? Like,
where did you get the word kidnapped from?
Holman is handling
Who said
this,
kidnapped?
right? Holman is handling this, right? So are they being deported? Like, what is the proper word?
The word kidnapped. You made that up?
Augustus, we'll just use the appropriate DNC language. Unaccompanied minors. Or falsely accompanied minors.
Yeah, like
that is a big problem here in Arizona.
No, they're kidnapped. They're used. They're mute.
Yeah, this is a big problem in Arizona, and so the sheriffs would be pretty outspoken about this because they are often the ones that are going to encounter these people before the Border Patrol does. And under Biden, Border Patrol did not talk to press. They had official narrative. Nobody could deviate. The officers were not allowed to talk to them. But it is very common for them to have children that are not theirs with them in order to seek asylum or to get services. And it's unknowing what the actual relationship is with that child. Could it be that they're being, I guess they're technically being trafficked, but of course there's the big problem is that it's very common for children and women to be raped. It is when they're passing through northern Mexico. Very common thing. In fact, most women understand that, so they make sure they have lots of condoms and birth control, just to, that's part of the toll they have to pay.
What is the Office of Refugee Resettlement? What agency is that? Because it's what the article is saying is that removing the kids, it breaks one of the mandates of the refugee resettlement, whatever it is. What agency is that? Is that an international thing, or is that
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. I was trying to look it up at the exact same. What were you speaking on, Queen? What were you talking about? The Office of Office of Refugee Resettlement, ORR. Shall we refer to the Office of Resettlement? Yes. It says transfer to OR within 72 hours of kidnapping the children from non-contiguous countries must be transferred from CBP to ORR, an agency within the Department of Health and Human Services. This was to establish to move away from the adult detention mode to ensure the children's welfare. So it's under D. It's under the HHS, Department of Health and Human Services, which, when I was speaking earlier, would then be, and that child would then be in their system to receive absolute benefits. So that is the cyclical money pattern that I was talking about. Did you want me to continue on, or did you have a comment about that?
Okay, and so this agency takes over the care of the unaccompanied minor.
Yeah, but they have to within 72 hours.
And so what are they saying about this? The agency.
So
okay.
I
don't know.
So the administration has set targets to actually restore these children with their biological parents, and they have the ability to do so for at least, I think, the majority of them. This is not for asylum. A 14-year-old can't just cross our border and with a coyote or whoever else and say, I want asylum. They don't get that provision. That's a minor, and we handle things a little bit differently. We'll protect and shield that minor, but we're not going to grant them application for that because they're a minor and they're without their parents. Now, if it was a wholesale, we find out their parents were slaughtered, they're an orphan, and blah, 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 and they're escaping, I don't know, persecution from, Mexican government where they're saying they're just hanging this family, then we'll probably take the children in. Similar situations have happened in the past. However, that's not these kids. Their parents have been located. Their parents are wanting their kids back. For some reason, though, I posted it in the chat. Even a judge, the Democrats went shopping and they found a friendly judge to try to block this administration from returning them. I want 700 kids back with their parents. I don't know why Democrats are like, well, they're American. They're not Americans. They're not. Fuck all. I don't need 700 more welfare cases, orphanage cases, fucking juvenile detention center cases. I don't need any more of them. I don't. I've got enough fucking problems with American kids. You want me?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't need any more dead American kids in schools. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. You guys don't really care, and you interrupted me to go on your phone call. That's really retarded. We don't need any more. I have enough problems with our own kids that I don't need to import more problems. And I think we need to look at this. And again, the Democrats went ahead and blocked this. They really don't care about kids. The only thing they care about is whether or not someone like King can go out and have 410 abortions and be able to say, I'm a proud, independent woman, and then cry about, hey, everybody should be EBT warriors. No, we should be able to manifest our destinies. We should be able to manifest our own points of view. And we shouldn't be importing the children of the world and saying, hey, here we go. Let's rip them from their parents. And then let's create all these other cases to overload our own system. We have enough problems with our adoption programs across the country anyway. Our foster home system is on the verge of fucking breaking. But yeah, let's definitely import fucking 700, 1,000 more. Why not 10,000? Why not 1 million? Let's just import all the kids from the world into the U.S. because we don't have like psychos in the Democrat Party that go up and have their own fucking island, absconding young little girls so they can get booty raped by Bill Clinton and their president. You know, Mr. Sir squirts a lot over Monica Lewinsky's dress.
So Brad, I can't see the stage right now because I want to read this. People are asking, all right, so they're underneath the ORR. Within 72 hours, the minors are. But then what they do is ORR has to provide shelter and care. The children are placed in a network of state licensed shelters, group homes, or foster care. So think about the state license being the federally funded shelters, group homes, and foster care. That takes away from the actual American kids that need those actual services, right? The ORRs then also required to provide food, medical care, and other services in the least restrictive possible setting. Now, this is where it becomes political. Under the sponsor reunification, ORR works to identify and vet sponsors who are typically family members living in the U.S. Potential sponsors must undergo background checks before the child can be released into care. Under the Biden administration, they stopped doing the DNA test, so that way they can actually reassert them with a biological member of the family that is in the U.S. The problem is many of these children, they don't have any biological parents or biological family members that it can actually, quote, be their sponsor to reunify them because their parents and biological family members are living in another country. So they're flooding the system, taking away from actual homes and state-funded homes and care for actual U.S. citizens to include our foster program that is already flooded. So that's an important factor to understand, like the whole chain of custody for these children.
It's a massive problem, but again, like we've seen over and over again, they don't really care about funding, reuniting kids with their parents. But no, they're concerned about, hey, should we give puberty blockers? They're all about that. That's when it becomes a problem because, again, they need to chemically or groom, I guess, some sort of fashion onto kids and not let them all discover their own sexuality as they mature through life. But no, we want to be able to somehow over-influence them into becoming a certain way and inject that. That's when they care about it. They don't really give a shit about the schools. They don't give a damn about school shootings because the only thing that they care about is, hey, I want to ban firearms. But when it comes to actually talking about measures to strengthen and harden targets, such as schools, such as expansion on those, such as reviewing medical doctors who are giving SSRIs at an alarming rate to children, how the teacher system, the education system, and the teachers within that system don't need to be elevated to a high level, but somehow need to be actually checked and monitored because they are not performing at such a significant level as indicated from post-1985 onward. We have seen a rapid decline in it. And the fact that teachers say we're overworked or overwhelmed, go ahead and look at the studies. 1950s, 1960s, 1940s, they had more kids per capita in classroom than our teachers do today. So if they had more kids in the classrooms and kids were excelling and we didn't have school shootings back in the day, I'm kind of confused as to why teachers are complaining when they actually have less kids per capita in their classrooms and they have more technology available to them, how the kids are ending up screwed up. And the argument has always been from the left, we just need to get rid of guns because that's what's scary. The legal gun owner is what's scary. Not that we put up all these laws and we somehow believe that that's going to protect us when literally the case that just happened in Minnesota had all the wet dream laws that all these vibrating Democrats could ever